Nations are not only conquered by force, they may be softened by confusion, divided by suspicion, and weakened by stories dressed as truth. This is your signal. This is your warning. This is your invitation to listen. The Trunk Tales with Drew Lemacks and Sergeant Major Kenneth Ramos. The subject is psychological operations. The hour is now.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna say, starting now.
Gotcha.
Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Trunk Tales. Obviously, I'm here with the TheIOGuy. This has been a great episode so far. I'm gonna release two versions of this video. This is gonna be the extended cut that you're getting this from. And we're talking about PSYOPs and everything like that. Right now, we're talking about the Maduro capture and things like that went along with that. We've been talking about Iran. We've been talking about everything that's been going on with Russia and just everything. I mean, this has been a jam-packed episode, and I love it. But I want to jump back real quick and talk really quickly. And I mean, I think AI is going to have to be like its own, like several episodes, because it's crazy that so many people will believe the stuff that's very obviously slop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they won't believe reality. Like it doesn't, how do you look at what is very clearly from a janky ass video game engine that's not even like a current, like, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it's that lowest common denominator. It's that lowest denominator of audience aggregate that you know, Matt Damon, look Americans bad, they bomb everything, and you look at it and it's a fucking Arma video, and you're like, well, I can't believe you even shared this. It's even worse when you see noted reporters, noted journalists share it too. And they won't fucking retract. It takes a lot for a journalist to fucking, you know, they stand by their journalists, lawyers, and doctors are the ones that fucking get really butthurt when you fuck with their reputation.
Yeah,
and
they'll Seth Harp.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. And so that's another thing too. It's one of those things to where that whole the AI slop actually audience, there are just some people that I think we should have. I mean, this may sound a little bit, you know, Starship Troopers, totalitarian, but I just think they don't need to have internet access. It's almost like drone users have to go through a specific class to fly drones, you know, officially and all this other stuff. It's almost, you know, whatever. But you don't. I don't think that. I mean, a driver's license should teach you what you have the capability to understand and read, write, and you know what signs look like, and you know how to drive when you do your driver's test. I think there needs to be like an internet one, because there are some Mongos out there that will literally, and of course to our advantage sometimes if you're using that for messaging purposes, we'll take your message, we'll take something, and some of these guys it's really bad right now on Facebook. I know we're not going to hit AI too hard, but because we like banged it up a lot. Facebook right now, you hear the Great Warriors Facebook page, or military history stories Facebook page, and it's all AI slop. Yep. They grabbed a picture of somebody, enhanced it with AI, and the next thing you know, they get mad at you for saying, "Hey, we're just trying to enhance the video." Well, at least tell the fucking story right. There was one, and I said this on another podcast. There was an instance where a guy, those same type of pages, saying he gave his life, he gave this, he wanted to Distinguished Service Cross, and he wanted a Medal of Honor. The guy got on the page and said, "Still alive here. I didn't get it. I got a Distinguished Service Cross, but I don't know anything about this fucking Medal of Honor thing." And they banned, like I said, these guys stood on their fucking ground. They go, "What are you talking about? You're a fake, blah, 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 blah." It's like, "Nah, I'm not fake." And he started dropping receipts. They fucking deleted all the comments and banned them from the page. They blocked them on the page.
My favorite early AI slop variant that just always caught people up, and it was very easy to call out, were the ones where if you just for a moment just look at the picture and consider who's taking the picture. Mm-hmm. Like you got, like, you know, it's there was that story about the black kid that saved, that it was a real story, but they generated an AI picture of a fake scene that didn't happen. He
Correct.
did save like 2 girls or 3 girls, something like that, like their car.
Yep. I remember that.
But it
one
was
too.
like,
yep.
it was like the sheriff's deputy or something like that, like hugging him, and like the 2 or 3 girls that were like drowning. You're like, guys.
And they had an extra arm or something.
Yeah. I'm like,
exactly.
All you had to do was Google it. And the other telltale thing, the biggest telltale of AI on Facebook specifically is super long, drawn out posts that go along with the image, right? Like, the city of blah 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 is honoring so and so, and then you click view more, and it's a fucking novel.
Yep. And it's an event that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these events didn't even happen at all. So yeah, it's we in the PSYOP regiment, we knew that it was going to happen. We knew that the use of AI was going to happen against us and everybody else. And we have, I mean, there is discussions going back and forth of using AI in some things within our stuff, but there's like an ethics, like with me. I've even posted it myself. It's like there's so many. I have like an AI ethics, our own line. Some of the things that I won't do. It's like I was telling somebody else. When a retired tanker, a retired infantryman talks about stuff and talks about their things, people listen, right? People are like, oh shit, yeah, that's very insightful. Yeah, oh, that was your experience? Okay, cool. When a retired PSYOP guy talks about it, it immediately becomes, oh, here's a tinfoil. Here goes Ken. He's like, he's ready to go. We're gonna talk. He's a retired PSYOP guy. So how do we know what you're saying is not a PSYOP? And then you're like, oh my god, dude. You guys remember that I was an NCO before I was in aviation. For 10 years before I became a PSYOP guy. My first jump out of an airplane was I was 30 years old, so I was old. I'm an old dude in the soft community. So I was in the Army for about 10 years, 3 years National Guard, in the beginning, the forefront, and then from 2001 all the way until, I guess you could sort of say now. Well, in uniform, 2018. So there you go, 2001 to 2018, and then I still do a little bit of, I still do guest speakerships, or I go and observe lanes or something like that at Fort Bragg. So there's a line that we really do have a line. Like, okay, you know how they talk about, oh, there's an AI that strategists and military analysts used, and it talked about doing this, and it suggested that, and we're like, that's why we won't use AI for specific tasks. Well, we did the same thing as PSYOP, and I guarantee it's not pretty. It's almost like Ultron type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would ask, would you consider the general population overall always being confused?
Yes.
As an advantage or a disadvantage?
I'll just say always.
PSYOPs?
I was just saying always being confused, because you have to remember there's authorities that we have. Some of them we can't, obviously they can't be said here in an open forum, but there are PSYOP operates under different authorities. And we also have different titles that we can or cannot use to American people. Everyone likes to say, oh my God, you guys are PSYOPing the American people. Well, look, now that the world is connected via the internet, we can't help a message that we posted overseas. It's going to hit here. And so immediately someone's going to share it or whatever like that. So the confusion on our foreign target audience is hell yeah. Let them be confused. Let them, because then at this point, the type of product, the quality of the product, the amount of time that the product is being disseminated, the amount of, and here's where I'm going to break some code talk. When people in the CIA don't like it when other terms are being used, because that's how you know they're not. In PSYOP, we don't say it's a PSYOP. We call it a series. The way PSYOP works, we used to call it a program. And just think about this. Just for instance, we were just talking about AI. Don't use AI would be the series, and different types of uses of media would be part of that series. So it would be like, for instance, radio, podcasts, whatever, or it'd be videos, or it'd be instructional stuff. It would be doctrine writing. It would be storytelling. There's different stuff under that one don't use AI or don't believe AI series. So when you hear someone say, oh, it's a PSYOP, that's how we know. PSYOPers would never say that. We also don't say PSYOPS. PSYOP is psychological operations, but we don't add the S. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of thinking, where the fuck did I hear this from? In my teachings, in my learnings, is that there was somebody explained that the doctor, and I'm an asshole for not fucking remembering this one. Why it's not called PSYOPs? The NATO term for psychological operations is PSYOPs. At the NATO, they call it PSYOPs. For us, we just say PSYOP. There was a time where we called it MISO, which was a fucking big mistake. And that was the reason why we had a different, and this will be discussed in a future, this will be the future episode stuff, is because we did not want to upset our internal, and that's the thing too that pissed me off. We did not want to upset our other partners in the interagency of the term PSYOP. So that's why we changed it to military information support operations. Well, once we did that, everybody who is not a fucking PSYOPer slatched onto that and said, I mean, I've been told many times, no, Ken, it's MISO. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I've only been doing this for almost 40 years. Anyways, it's one of those things to where it's not. There was some reason why. And of course, further in the series, when we discuss with our historians and discuss all the other MACV shit, you'll see the explanation of how everything was named for a reason and how heraldry works and all that. Because a lot of people don't realize is that PSYOP in itself, goes back hundreds of years. But as a matter of fact, in American history, PSYOP goes into the American Revolution, right? Everyone talks about anon accounts. Everyone talks about anonymous accounts and all that. Well, the founders and the revolutionaries, the ones when we rebelled against the British, we used anonymous accounts, or I would say pseudonyms for what it was. We were basically shitposting against the British already. So when people say like, oh well, the history of it, the history of PSYOP with this, and there's no need for it. Bro, what are you talking about? Like we were saying before, it goes back into the ancient times. But American use of it, we just celebrated in 2018. We celebrated 100 years of Army PSYOP, when Army PSYOP was actually being, when it was actually done. So it began in the American Revolution. I mean, we were throwing leaflets at the fucking Hessians to say, hey, British, these guys are, we're kicking their ass. You know what? What are you going to do? Matter of fact, you should join us. We will help you out. Now, that's another thing about PSYOP messaging. If you say you're going to do something, it lends credibility when you actually do it. So if we say, hey, bad guy, we're going to drop a leaflet. We're dropping leaflets. Everyone likes to say, we'll use a leaflet. We'll use a leaflet. It's not always just leaflets, but I will use the simpler form. Hey, we're going to use this, or a radio message. Or better yet, we're going to have a leaflet with a radio frequency for you to tune in on the radio message. Hey, you're going to get bombed tomorrow if you don't vacate your position, right? That worked. It worked pretty good for Desert Storm. And then sure as shit, as soon as you don't, if you start bombing, fuck yeah, the enemy's going to say, oh yeah, these guys, the U.S. government, the U.S. military they're going to go by their word. If you don't do it, you're going to destroy your credibility. So that's why when you saw those videos of all those Iraqis surrendering in Desert Storm, because we said that, we're like, hey, we just bombed the shit out of this one spot. You guys are next tomorrow. Next thing you know, oh shit, Shokran, don't bomb us, don't, and they showed up with leaflets thinking that it was some sort of, in a way, it was an effective use to know that, yes, our leaflets reached the enemy, and B, it showed the fact that they read the message. They saw that we were credible enough that we were going to bomb the crap out of them if they didn't comply to what we're doing, because that's literally what it is. It's it's basically use of, influence. We have our motto, persuade, change, and influence on our regimental crest. And it really is that. It really is, you're persuading all that. I don't, there's more to the title of it, but it's basically the same thing. Now our doctrinal speak and all that will change on its description of what it is. Like, some of the doctrine that you have in the joint manual or the FM will say that, it's military operations that are conveyed, selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their motives and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and large foreign powers.
You'll like the video that I just watched yesterday or the day before. It's not about PSYOPs in any way or anything like that, but it's almost tangential. It's a storytelling component, like how to create a good villain, which if you back up and take out the villain aspect of it, it could apply to even like the hero.
Right.
But one of the things that they were talking about, and one of them was a Star Wars reference, was how you can't just always be unpredictable, because if you're unpredictable all the time, then you almost become predictable, because now it doesn't matter what you say. Nobody's going to believe your threat, because now it's really a 50-50, right?
Exactly that.
One of the examples that they gave was Vader choking out. I've never watched the Star Wars movies, so forgive me.
What did you just say?
Never
man!
watched-
All right, we're canceled. All right, y'all take it easy. Thank you for tuning in to this shortened edition of the. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was he force choked out somebody in like the control room or whatever. But then there was another scene where he was supposed to do it again, and George Lucas cut the scene because he was like, we don't just want people to like get numb to him just going around just doing.
Return of the Jedi. It was a scene where one of the admirals was preventing him from going into another room to see the Emperor. And Emperor says, "You don't need to be." He doesn't want to be seen. And Vader's like, "What do you say?" And just like that. I'll be honest with you. And here's the way with filmmaking works, which SYOP has been involved. Is that I can't wait to get to the Hollywood portion of the series, man. I'm so geeked out. Is that a lot of the storytelling it's basically on that. It's a basis of a story that it's the script. And I had a great mentor that was a script writer that knew how to write, do story scripts and stuff like that. And again, future episode of Trunk Tales, make sure you tune into the Hollywood section, because that's going to be the awesome part of it. Is that there is a script that you have to write. Like, there's a reason why we have an assessment and selection. There's a reason why we have to have the gift of gab. There's a reason why we have individuals that have to have a note to write a good story. Now, in its rush, when people say, "Oh, that PSYOP campaign didn't work," well, yeah, it didn't work because you did not allow the individuals on the ground to do their proper stuff, and also you forget that we all work for bosses too, and so if you're not allowed to do it, and whatever, that you're gonna get what you don't approve. You know what I mean? Yep. But basically that. So, and I hate when people are like, "Well, I had several PSYOP guys that were doing this, and they were fucking shit." And they're like, "Well, okay, what did you do? What did you have them do?" "Well, they didn't do this, and they did." No. What did you let them do? Well, they wouldn't let me said this, and they said I had to go back to Fort Bragg. Well, what were they? I mean, they never get to the end of why they hate having PSYOP or why they hate PSYOP sucks until they meet a PSYOPer that the next thing you know is fucking like, I don't consider myself the greatest PSYOPer on the planet. I have been.
Come on.
I don't, dude.
Don't be humble.
No, dude. I don't. Because there's some PSYOP kids out there that are fucking phenomenal in filmmaking, storytelling, and all that. I'm just like in awe. I'm like, oh my god, dude. If I could have done this, and the reason why I say that is because some of them are former soldiers. Somebody said that I was. Somebody said that I was because I didn't meet the traditional block of with a regular Army NCO would go. Most NCOs, they were the squad leader, platoon leader, platoon sergeant, and they become a first sergeant and all that. Well, I made rank pretty quick, and so because I was in aviation for a minute, and then I accelerated my time. Like I said, in active duty, and then once I became a PSYOPer, I went like Staff Sergeant, First Class, Master Sergeant, and then from there, I was a Master Sergeant for a long time. Somebody said that I was a Master Sergeant so long that I was everybody's detachment sergeant, which I pretty much was. And so it was basically the kids that I shouldn't say kids, they're just badass professionals, man. The troops that I was their detachment sergeant for, or they were first sergeant for. I stand back in awe because I can brag and say, "Hey, that was my soldier." "Hey, that was my troop." Whatever. But I can also brag that they took the shit that I knew to the next level. Ghost in the Machine, Ghost in the Machine 2, all the other Ghosts in the Things, that we're going to talk about in the future podcast. It's just one of those things to where you're like, you're in awe what the regiment can do. So much to the fact that it's threatened within, that's the last 2 episodes. We're gonna, I can't wait. You guys are getting me pumped. That there are internal forces within the Department of War, DOD, what do you want to call it, whatever your butt hurt not to say or say, the Department of War, that are threatened by the likes of our skills, and to the point to where like I was told that PSYOP scares me. Because the reason why it scares me is because it'll put me out of a job. I won't say the name, I won't say the rank, I won't say what they do. But when they told me that, and I'm like, damn, dude, I mean, we're doing this, and then they just like, it was like Colonel Kilgore in Apocalypse Now. One day this war is going to end.
Yep.
Then what were we going to do? Then the game is going to be influence. And so it really is one of those things to where I look back and I see how PSYOPers of today. To go back to what you were saying about the storytelling, and the storytelling portion of it is the core of the story of your message that you want to put out in the series, right? So if you want your series of stuff, and we're going to talk about the way that we work with what we have for each specific mission, for each specific task that we have to do in theater with what we call PSYOP objectives and supporting PSYOP objectives.
Would you say that if you were building a series, would you say that that series would be defined by the end goal, and then you work back, like you define your steps in your series to get there based on the end goal?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay. In the goal of an influence, everybody wants to be the influencer. You're talking about measures of performance and measures of effectiveness. You're talking about the end effect. That's literally, most PSYOPers that have been around on staff will say, okay, what's your effect? What do you want? What can I help you with? What do you need? And that's usually, working in those joint environments, that's exactly what it is. It's what your end effect is going to be in your PSYOP series. So your PSYOP series is, I mean, you can name whatever, support the U.S. objectives in Venezuela. I'm guaranteeing right now there's some messaging that's currently happening in Venezuela to support our U.S. policies and the end of the Maduro regime and the remnants.
I want to tell you something really fun. So back last fall, I kept joking around and saying that I can't remember what I said. Bomb Venezuela, liberate the Latinas, something. It was I made it work, and now I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I said it like multiple times, and Grimsby was like, "No, you don't want that. They're all crazy." And I'm like, it's a joke, man. Like he's like, you don't want to liberate them, you want to leave them there. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But then that guy in the Navy that they took the picture of and it was posted on DVids with the patch.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I know he didn't steal that idea from me, but I swear he stole that idea from me. I swear I was the one saying that first.
Well, I mean, it's like this. We look. There's just some people that, like I was telling you about I don't want to insult the target audience either. But you want to go and to speak to everybody. Yep. And in an environment like that, you have to consider, and of course we do our area studies. I know all the retired SF guys, all the retired Intel guys, they always talk about make sure you have an area study for when the shit hits the fan or blah, 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 blah. Well, no shit. Everyone talks about, did you know that there was plans for Iran? Did you know there was plans for Venezuela?
It's just like when every time, DOD, DOW, or whatever, war games for an invasion of Canada or fucking Mexico, people are like, they're planning on invading. No, they're just, you plan for every possible scenario.
You plan for everything. There's the con plans and op plans is what they're called. And what basically what it is that there are studies that are being, like, I got binders and stuff around me that I could say, oh, this, I mean, I'm just using an example. I don't have classified material. I'm just saying,
sure.
Yeah. Well, I do got some drone. I got a drone sitting next to me with some drone blade, my drone kit next to me. I do have a video. I do have a picture of Saddam Hussein, because I collect propaganda as well. Every PSYOPer should. Or anybody who is interested in PSYOP or propaganda, should always get a piece of that stuff. So that way, and make sure you say that you're doing that as a collector, because then people are looking weird at you and shit when you start collecting. You have paraphernalia and stuff. But no, a lot you you can't insult the target audience, but you also have to understand culture as well. So those area studies as well. You something like someone will say that would not, I don't know, it wouldn't resonate with somebody from the Midwest, but somebody, you know, a Latino you're like, oh shit, you know, me, if I was, now I mind you now, I know nothing about what messaging is being posted down in Venezuela. I'm only from my experience. I would alter-cast the fuck out of the dudes. Only real men would stand up to fucking shitty regimes. Real men would take care of their fucking families. Real men make sure that they defend their country. Real men would do this. You should thank the U.S. You should thank the U.S. for providing you an outlet to do this.
Yep.
You know, and everyone says it sounds really corny, but I mean, like, you know, it's almost like, you ever watch Judge Dredd when there's that little PSYOP robot that goes, eat recycled food. It's good for the environment and okay for you. It sounds cheesy, but those are like messages that we would post out. And we would literally say something like that.
It's very similar to like people that have quickly become radicalized on social media and like the internet generation, because before, when people had these thoughts or notions, they were disconnected from other people that might have had that. So they not only felt like they were really wrong, like they are wrong, but there's nobody else could possibly think like them.
That would go back to the title of it, networks and groups. It's almost like, I mean, a lot of us in the soft community would say, if you thought about it, the bad guy has thought about it 10 different ways of doing it already. Right. That's what you have to be, you know, 10 steps ahead of the game, to include in all your planning and processes and stuff like that. Because everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's an idea. All right, cool. Let's just throw it up and fucking send it out and see what happens and get the clicks and you know, there are second, third, and fourth order effects, which, you know, I like to talk about. A lot of terms in the mainstream hitting it now are PSYOP terms, themes and messages and symbols to avoid. I'm thinking, damn, dude, I felt like I was back in, you know, in my class, but those objectives that you have, like you were talking about, the supporting of. We know you're thinking about this. Let's do it. Here's what we can do. Blah, blah. That's where the steps of the PSYOP process, the unconventional warfare process, run in parallel. That's what the SF guys do. That's what the SF dudes are for. That's what their gig is all about. Their job is specifically all about, you know, unconventional warfare. They have their own process. As a matter of fact, both processes are the same steps. The 7 steps. We have 7 steps of the PSYOP process. We have 7 steps of the UW process. Each work in concert with each other to supplement and help them out. You know, us is planning. We do 7, 7, and well, some of my mentors in some of the organizations that I've worked with, we do 7, 7, and 7. There's 7 steps to the MDMP process, the military decision-making process, 7 steps to the PSYOP process, and then 7 steps to the freaking unconventional warfare process. And when you're working with special operations units, like specifically, you know, like I said, I'm just to say UW Special Forces, that's their bread and butter, man. They're the ones that teach the little indige guys how to, you know, operate weapons and how to move squad tactics. You see videos like that when you see like SOC Africa, or you'll see there's the Indo-PACOM. You'll see First Special Forces Group training training, you know, interoperability exercises with them. So all that stuff with them, that's their bread and butter. All of us work in concert, so that way that messaging, because like, there's a post that I put on Twitter, and I was like, you may have had the Ranger Handbook, but you've never heard it in the original Arabic. Well, when we were training Syrian forces, guess what we have in there? We have a Ranger Handbook. I have several Ranger Handbooks in Arabic. I have it in Ethiopian and Amharic. We have, because those are some of the areas that I worked, and we have messages that are inside them. Real soldiers will do this. A little external messaging that you would put it in the same thing with the UW guys when they're, you know, because obviously in the general terms, they're dealing with proxy forces, or they're involved in insurgencies and counterinsurgency and stuff like that.
It kind of makes me curious. So you know how right now Grok is doing it's doing like not a verbatim translation. It's doing a keep the message the same translation. Like if we were having this conversation with somebody in Japanese and Grok was our middleman, Grok wouldn't say the exact words in the exact order. It would
with contents or nuance either. That's the issue.
Yeah. So I would be curious to see how some of these chatbots would translate those handbooks back to English. Like I would. Well, I think that'd be kind of cool.
We actually have we actually have individuals. Well, we're supposed to individuals that are specialists and within the region to look at these products before we throw. In other words, we don't just go out and say, all right, I need 1 million handbooks. I need 1 million Ranger handbooks in Arabic. Well, we got to at least do a couple of prototypes and then flip through and say, all right, let's give it to a guy who's in Syria. Let's give it to a guy who's in Jordan. Let's give it to a guy who's in Iraq. Can you understand what this is? Blah, blah, blah. Then we get the feedback and stuff like that. All that, of course, is within the planning processes of the of the PSYOP. The first step of the PSYOP process, as a matter of fact. I mean, we're going to go through them anyways. There's always the acronym that the old mentors have told me, and is what we say is PT SPADE. PT SPADE is planning, target audience analysis, serious development, product development, and design, approval, production, and then the evaluation. So 7 steps right there. Those are the steps that as a PSYOPer, we have to process in itself, along with the MDMP process, which is another 7-step process that we do involved with planning at the joint level or at the division core level as well. So it's a pretty, everyone thinks like, oh, just make a fucking leaflet and bam, there you go. And it's not like that. I mean, there's legit, you have to define the objectives. And that's one thing too. The first 2 steps, planning and target audience analysis, those are always refined. Those are always going to be built. There's always going to be intentional agitators. There's always going to be things you don't see. You got to identify, some of this, who are the audiences that are there? So after you define the objectives and you've done the initial target audience analysis start, along with MDMP, of course, then that's why you have to identify specific target audiences that you, like you were saying, the dudes in Venezuela. We'll keep using Venezuela because that was actually a pretty good, it's not as complex, but for purposes of the discussion, it'll be pretty good. Identifying. So what were we doing? Everyone talks about the discombobulator. I think I got a combobulator old one module somewhere. Anyways, which is probably just a loudspeaker system with set up to a higher rate that could be adjusted that will make everybody shit their pants or whatever. I'm gonna tell you right now, the battle labs, man, the USASOC kids, the PSYOP kids, a lot of the PSYOP kids are some freaking nerds on what they can do on the OBJ, and if they're supporting tier 1 units, I can imagine what the imagination can go to with that.
There's I don't want to get too far off track, but there's several like techie, and they're not just specifically tech, but they're like hacker, not like sitting there and trying to get in the mainframe or hack your server. Taking components and things and using them for things that they're not intended for. For example, there's a guy named Ben Jordan, which this dude he's very hyper liberal, and he doesn't hide that. But his content, man, he is dead on, like with the flock cameras and just technology and things like that in general, and ways to spy on people. This dude created a laser microphone that he could shine it from any distance using an infrared laser so you can't see it. He could shine it, and based on the reflection of like a surface, like a plastic bag, like a shopping bag, or even your window, he could actually hear or use the vibration from the window or from the plastic bag to translate that wave into audio. He could spy on you in your house by shining a laser at you. There was another guy, I can't remember who. I remember the researcher was from the University of Michigan. I think it might have been Veritasium, might have been the YouTube channel. They took a laser, the researcher created this laser that was able to hit the microphones on like smart speakers and trigger different commands. So they could shine a laser through your window at like your smart thermostat that's connected to your Nest system or whatever, and tell it to open your garage door.
That's why I always tell people to be analog in a lot of things in their home. With the exception, obviously, I don't even think some homes are even built with landlines anymore. And so I always tell people when they're like, "Oh, I've got I got my old switch right here, and I'm thinking about putting a switch on there. Is it a digital switch or is it a smart switch?" And they're like, "No, it's going to be one of those ones that connects to us." As soon as you said connects to stop. Just don't even. Just if you want it, you could change out to an analog to a digital, but which everyone knows that digital and analog are pretty much the same.
You can also do what's called signal freaking.
Yeah,
and so somebody could be outside of my house and have a powerful enough antenna that they could actually watch us and listen to us based on the radiation that's coming off the HDMI cable that's connected from this computer to this TV right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's why I always laugh. That's why when I always, remember when you were in and you were always hearing those S2 nerds going, "Don't cross zipper lines with nipper lines."
Yep.
Because the transfer line will come over. And then you always have those skeptics. "No, it won't happen like that. Mongo will cross over." And then that technology exists. See, the thing is that it's not that the technology didn't exist, bro. It's like one of those things to where it existed, but now people are figuring out how it works, and people are figuring out how to do it.
And one of the things that people really don't take seriously is the complacency aspect of it, right? Like,
right.
You're preached to all the time. The comms guy tells you this stuff. Everyone's telling you all these different things. You're taking your fucking PowerPoint modules and internet security and everything else, and you're doing all of your continuing education nonsense. And you're like, "It's never going to happen to me." And then you get locked out of your account. You're like, "I told you, dummy, use two-factor authentication."
I would say it's now to a point to where some accounts on social media now won't let you go any further unless you have two-factor. I think that's part of their, because I think they don't want to fucking deal with. A lot of it too is like, I don't want to fucking, the I guess you'd say their help desk. They don't want to deal with anybody who's freaking always calling me up with my account being fucked up.
The way that the last, and it's actually, this has gone on for a long time. Even if you have two-factor authentication set up, I don't know if you've ever experimented with this before, but back in the day, before a lot of social media platforms really had like a tangible API, if I wanted to say publish my blog post from my WordPress site onto Facebook or X, what you would do is you would actually go into your browser dev tools and you would grab your session tokens, because your session token mimics that you went through, you logged in, even if you had two-factor authentication enabled, and it logs that, and it keeps you persistently logged in. But it's not tied to what device or what application you're using. So I could take those application tokens or that session token, and I could put it into the application on my WordPress site. And when I click submit, it'll post as Andrew on social media. And
what's a lot of it too is that just clearing out your cache helps too. You know what I mean? Some of the basic stuff. I know a lot of the newer methods of influencing, because that technique you were talking about with the laser stuff and all that. Yeah. Those are techniques that normally be used for, human and stuff like that. And other people's that would use that type of tech. PSYOPers, we don't do any of the intel stuff. I mean, we do media assessments to where like we're listening into that. We're playing in the ham radio world only for transmission, of course. So if it's yeah, only in transmission, of course, but yeah, no, the reason why I always say that you're trying to get the message out, we're using the platforms. A lot of people, like for instance, confuse platforms with capabilities with the actual function. And so that's what everybody gets confused about. So when I go back to say it about, oh, well, yeah, it's easy shit. You're going to freaking, you could just slap a leaflet and just send it out. I'm like, okay, well, what, let me see what your opposed and SPOs were, your PSYOP objectives and your supporting PSYOP objectives. What was your, what was that? Let me read back. Let me look back at the tabs here. What was your target audience analysis in this? What was your method? What step? Because people always, the seven step to PSYOP that a lot of people don't do is the evaluation, is where we measure impact indicators, or we make sure that was the effect effective that we had said we were going to do when we posted or sent or transmitted or dropped, or whatever. Right. And it could be any medium, you know what I mean? It's anything that has to do with messaging. We could use any medium. It could be the internet. It could be ham radio. It could be radio. It could be Morse code. It could be a movie. that we, like I said, future trash talk. It could be anything, but as long as the message gets out there, is it part of the series, and then also the approval. A lot of the stuff that people complain about in the PSYOP process is that it takes too fucking long because it's a long approval process, because most of our PSYOP objectives are coming from the Department of War. It's coming from a higher echelon, so we have to stay within those guidelines. When people stray out of it, then that's when you have everybody and its mother, almost like putting a cover sheet on an IPS-A fucking document that wants the, you got, there's only 3 people that I give a fuck about when it comes to any products that I've ever sent up. And that was the JAG, to make sure that we didn't violate anything that was going to be violating, the laws of war, and within specific authorities. And, usually, I would myself face to face with the JAG on this one and go on message and nuance, and this is what it means. Give them an English version of what it would look like. Here's what the Arabic version is, and then here's, I would literally do that with some of the individuals that would work on the JAG team, because they're the ones that are going to save your fucking bacon in the event your PSYOP. Everyone says, PSYOP doesn't kill people. I'm gonna say, you post the wrong message, or a message gets sent out at the wrong time, or ahead or too late in an operation, it could kill people. It could kill innocents on the ground. It could kill your teammates. It could kill your partner or allies that are there on the ground with you. So it's a lot of it, things like, it's not a big deal. It's just fucking stupid PSYOP shit. It's fucking leaf eater crap, blah, 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 blah. Even though that we were one of the precursors of the OSS. Yeah, okay, whatever. But, a lot of people will sit there and not think about the whole process in itself, realizing that there's a process to begin with. So when I hear somebody go, yeah, well, they didn't, what step were they at? Well, they didn't really do this because they did their target audience analysis and and that's another thing too. We have a bad habit of being paralysis analysis, or analysis paralysis. We'll go into that. Did we get it all? Did we do this? Let's do that. Meanwhile, the commander, the Joint Force commander, is like, all right, TikTok, motherfucker. We got to get this. We got to get this shit out.
I think the question that I would have, and probably a lot of people would have, are you guys given? Maybe you can't even answer this. I don't know. Are you guys given the broad end goal, or are you given, like, for example, let's say we're gonna go take over country X, right? Like, we want to go invade and we want to turn their people onto our side so that they're basically our fighting force for us. Are they telling you that and saying, make all of the objectives that get us to that end state? Or do they say, like, they keep that final mission goal to themselves, and they tell you, hey, I need you to start the influence campaign.
We are in on the whole thing. Okay. Like when Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom kicked off, we were involved in all the phase 0 all the way to phase 4, in different phases of the conflict, because there was messaging involved in each of those phases. So we kind of had to be aware. If you have a good planner or you have a good staff on there, it's pretty quick to write. Like when I was the senior PSYOP sergeant for the 1st Armor Division. And then I became that's how I got my name, TheIOGuy. The AI, where's my IO guy at? Is because I was, at the time, we were short with an PSYOP officer, an IO officer, and a PSYOP NCO, and I was the only guy there since, I was there in 2004. Obviously the Mahdi militia, the Muqtada al-Sadr fucking uprising, to include PSYOP products involved in that one too. So it was, and I'll give you an example on that one, is that time I had to be in every portion of whatever process. Like if we were going to raid to go hunt Muqtada al-Sadr, I had to be in that planning area. I had to be in the plan shop. So generally a PSYOP guy, or, PSYOP, the crew, the individuals would be inside the G3 plants in a division. I'm just talking about a division, or J3 or J39 in a joint environment. But there was a time, and I got a friend of mine, the late Boone Cutler, the Solder City boys, him and Alex Plitzis, those guys, during the Mahdi militia uprising, we were all PSYOPers on the ground. I was the division guy. We had the 321st, the 345th PSYOP company reserve units, one out of Missouri, one out of Dallas, Texas, 345th out of Texas, I think 21st was the Missouri one. But anyways, we all worked together during all that Mahdi militia uprising. So when Muqtada al-Sadr was pulling his shit, this guy's like the same age as me. He's like in his fucking 50s and shit. So at the time we were all like, God, this kid's young. This guy was the one of the lead the sheikhs or the lead clerics in the Mahdi uprising. And we're like, okay, there was a mission to possibly take him out or make him surrender. So I had to, and I'll send you the meme for the purpose we had to carry in aircraft and hover around in Chinooks and in vehicles to make sure that we had 2 boxes. One that said Muqtada al-Sadr has surrendered. Muqtada al-Sadr has been, he's working with coalition forces. He has surrendered. Lay down your weapons, blah, blah, blah. And then we had another one that said, this motherfucker's dead. We killed him. We waxed him. And if you don't fucking do what I'm just paraphrasing, of course. You don't do what we say, we're going to fucking wax your ass too. The Mahdi militias destroy. I mean, we had several. So it's like literally what we're thinking. The meme was, when you think you've dropped the wrong leaflet box, you're like, oh shit, I'm in danger. That meme. And that literally was what happened. That was dicey, because if we had put out the wrong leaflet box and Muqtada al-Sadr had not been taken out, then guess what? It'd been basically been ruining the credibility for the entire Task Force 180.
You know what it reminds me of? You know how when sports championships like the Super Bowl or college basketball or whatever, when they're designing the products for the champion, so they have like the shirts and the hats, but they have to make them for both teams just in case.
I know where you're getting at. Yeah. And the losers get sent to some charity groups in Africa. Yeah. There's no. Hopefully, there's no Muqtada al-Sadr because the motherfucker's still alive. There's no Muqtada. There's no Muqtada fucking posters in Nigeria right now that kids are using for fire, for kindling. Yeah, it was dicey. I mean, so that's why you had to make sure that you were involved in the plan, initiating contact. Like with me, I have in my time when we get to my portion of it. In OIF, when I was supporting 2nd Battalion 10th Special Forces Group, Bravo and Charlie Company, I like I said, there were specific hit times that you had to hit. So you had to be involved in the planning. So it's not like you were kept in the dark. Some of the PSYOP objectives anyways are coming from the Department of Defense, Department of War. They're coming from the Department of War anyways. They're coming through the operators. They're coming through the op plans, comp plans. They're through the whole process to begin with. So you're gonna know what the commander's end effect is gonna be, and so yeah, you're involved in a lot of it. So, but the Muqtada al-Sadr case is hilarious because we were literally, and like I said, we were literally running around going, are we gonna fucking, which one are we posting? Which one aren't we posting? There was. I would say for a PSYOP guy, there was pucker factor on not dropping the wrong. Like we had literally. Kill, yes. Not kill, no. Like it's like we literally had there's another PSYOP team that was in Kirkuk that was telling me that they literally had fucking dead, alive. There were methods of not posting or not sharing or not disseminating, because we were wondering, is JSOC, are the boys going to go get him and fucking take his ass out? Which I think we should have wholeheartedly fucking took his ass out. And so that whole Muqtada al-Sadr thing, that's why it was important in timing that we are involved in the plan. We are involved in it. If you're not involved in the plan, it's either because they don't feel that PSYOP at the time would be effective in that mission if they're doing a cordon or something like that, unless you need PSYOP speaker support, like loudspeakers, to keep civilian non-interference away from the cordon. So if all of a sudden you saw a whole shitload of fucking Bradleys and some M1 Abrams show up, and all of a sudden you hear, make sure you stay the fuck out the way, blah, blah, you're gonna get killed. That's the PSYOP truck normally posting that shit out. And the same thing with the Battle of Fallujah. So a lot of those situations right there, it's all dependent. It's all mission dependent, and a lot of it. So yes, we are involved. We'd have to, So when we did the pre-training, with 10th SF, when we do training with 5th Group, and we do training with other Special Forces units, and we see the assessments and we see whatever, we're like, okay, so if this attachment gets taken out, who's next? Who's up on the bench? So.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Sorry, I was replying to my lawn guy's been here doing landscaping and lawn and stuff. And he was telling me that he had to run, that he wasn't leaving, not finishing the job. Okay. But actually, as we start to wrap up this first episode, I wanted to do 2 things here. First of all, I wanted to kind of define what our goals are so people kind of know. There are some things, and I mean, I'll just come out and say it because I think if everyone knows, maybe they'll find a way to back and support us. But I'm trying to look at an opportunity for us to be able to go and film at Bragg at the two museums there, the JFK Special Warfare Museum, the Airborne and Infantry Museum, and then.
Oh, you're talking about the one in Fayetteville, downtown Fayetteville.
Yeah. Because there's two on post and then one.
The Special Warfare Museum on Fort Bragg, and then there's okay. I think you might want to re-say that. I think you might say, because I want to make sure that the individuals that want to speak with you are good to go with the scheduling. So maybe you want to rephrase that line by saying, "Hey, we're going to be working with," or you might say, "We might be we will be interviewing individuals that." Our special warfare. I don't know how you want to reword it, because what I don't want to say is like, I wanted to go out and say, hey, Fort Bragg, and then Fort Bragg's like, wait, they're going to hit me up and say, Ken, what the fuck you volunteering this for? I'm like, no. I don't want it to get, misunderstood.
So I guess in a way I do want to rephrase it. There are some things, because I've been there a couple of times. I'd like to have like some B-roll, like show when we're talking about something, it will show, hey, if you want to go like deep dive, you can go to the museum and there is a whole thing about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe if you want, I can send you via X. I got a ton of pictures of the museums already. So of the Special Warfare one with all the PSYOPs stuff like that. So
the last time that we went was we went in 2024. We didn't go last year, did we? He's not paying attention. But when we went there, there was somebody from DOD at the time, just to be clear, so people understand that I'm using the right phrase for the time. We pulled up right as the one in Fayetteville, right as they were opening, or like 10 minutes before they were opening. So there's nobody else in the parking lot. We pulled into the parking lot and I backed into a parking space, and like 6 Tahoes with blacked out windows, all flying to the parking lot, taking different and I'm sitting there and I look through the windshield of one of them and I see that there's 2 people in the front and they're both in fucking suits. And I looked at the kids and I was like, I don't know that we're going to be able to go in. I think somebody important's here. And I think that they're, going to be walking, like they're going to go clear through it. So we walked up as they opened the doors. Nobody had gotten out of the SUVs or anything like that yet. And I walked up to the front desk right there, because the kids have the little passports where they can get them like stamped and stuff.
Yep.
So I walked up and we're like, is something going on? The people at the desk are like, I don't know. And we're like, it's open. You can just go in. So we go and we walk in and we're following, the normal laid out path. And then all of a sudden there's people coming around us one way. And then there's guys coming back the other way. So they were going through and clean sweep. They didn't tell us we couldn't do anything. They didn't say anything to us. We were kind of in and out there pretty quickly.
Probably just doing a route recon or a site recon or something like that.
But I was like, man, it was weird. It's like we pulled in, the parking lot was empty. We pulled in, then all of a sudden we're swarmed. And I was like,
well, I will. Yeah, I was about to say, I will say this, because of the units that are there, Fayetteville is an awesome training ground. Yeah. I mean, it's like, just for like, if you want to do some specific techniques or something like that, or you want to test something or like that, the Fayetteville community is really accommodating too. A lot of stuff, they'll like, hey, you have the Special Forces qualification course, the PSYOP qualification course, and the Civil Affairs qualification course that do exercises there within the community, and near Fort Bragg. And the Fayetteville community is incredible. The great people that'll assist in training. All you gotta do is ask, hey, we're going to land a Little Bird right here or a Blackhawk right here, and you're going to hear some speaker noises and shit. I said, okay, if we can, and some of them are like, hell yeah, buddy, raise hell, praise hell, can I watch? And then they'll let you watch. And they're like I said, they're great people, a great community out there, Moore County, Cumberland County. But yeah, I would, and that's the thing is that we just barely scratched the surface of the first episode. I think we need to do like a first episode 2 or first episode A and B, because we're still scratching the top. You know what I mean? So
some of the other goals, like you had reached out to some people. So one of the things that I would like to do, and I'm not saying that any of these things are going to come true because we're still kind of flushing it out. We jumping into this, getting the ball rolling. Is I want to kind of do some documentary style interviews, flush out some information, both about specific things that have happened over the history of PSYOPs, but also get more of the history and how PSYOPs works, as well as kind of bringing in some more of the history and culture and things like that. So if you guys notice that some of these episodes are more podcasty like this, and then other ones are more interview documentary, there might be a little bit of back and forth, and there might be complementary episodes to go with each thing. It's going to come down to people's availability and time. And like Ken said, a lot of people are really accommodating. So we'll see how things go. Second to last thing that I want to do, I brought in some tinfoil. Okay.
Oh, snap.
I brought what I think is in that. So I wanted to ask if you could give me a tutorial to make a proper hat.
Well, I mean, generally it's like if it's something like that, if you could just grab some, if you want to tear a little bit out, you can make a full one, but generally with like a sheet you have, you just tear.
So it doesn't have to be omnidirectional?
No, because if you I have the little pip on here on the top, so I can grab it, and I can just put it on any headgear like that on my visor,
all right.
like that. So you just go ahead.
My next question then.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it shiny side or flat side out?
Flat, shiny side goes out, flat side goes in.
Okay.
So you get shiny. Yeah, that's the omnidirectional portion of it.
Okay, so just start
just
here,
like that. Yep,
like
just
a
start right
bandana.
there. Go back like a bandana, and then crumple it towards the top in the back of the end, like almost like you're doing a ponytail. There you go.
Does it need to cover the ears?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Because you got to be able to hear what you're waving. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's fair.
So
That's
you got to hear. So
how do I look?
And also, all right, very good. We'll have to ask our friend Alex Jones what he says when he comes across the net and sees our shit. Because
on the tinfoil hat note, there's a movie that came out in Australia, and I stumbled upon it, and I just watched it last weekend with one of the teenage daughters, and oh my God, there's a tinfoil hat scene in it. Like one of the characters, he sees somebody else, like a paranoid schizophrenic kind of guy doing it, and he's like, oh, that guy's weird. And then it like turns out it's like what saves his life in the movies is like wearing the tinfoil hat underneath his boonie cap. And oh my God, it's called the Super Progressive movie.
I have to watch it.
I highly recommend anybody
I have to watch that now.
It is absolutely hilarious.
I will say this, a lot of tinfoil that I see out there when it comes about PSYOP, or when it comes about PSYOP involvement, I will say this. Y'all motherfuckers are close. You're close. You guys are, some of the stuff that I get questioned on, I'm like, okay, either this person really smart and figure it out, or that somebody else is talking, or somebody's talking to them. Because that's usually what it is. It's because most PSYOPers, I think a lot of us were, how do I say, we really hit the quiet professional phase of it and not saying much of what we do, and that good in some ways, but also led to the detriment of what we are, because then now we have other people telling us our stories. So that's another reason why I agreed to knock out this the PSYOP tales, because it just if anything else, right here we just scratched the surface. The next portion is going to be deep, like you said, deep in the history when you talk about whatever. There's also my experiences and what I've done, and it's like I said, it's I could not have been where I am at today without some of the with most of the professional men and women in the PSYOP regiment that I have just done. Like I said, I'm in awe. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, Ken, you're a great PSYOPer. You do this." I'm like, "No, bro. There's some kids out there that will blow you away."
On a scale of those guys being kind of top tier, and then the World War II era, what were they? They were like stage actor, like college students.
You're talking about the Ghost. You're talking about the Ghost Army. You're talking about how the Ghost Army were whatever. You got to remember that it's all coming full circle now. PSYOPception. It's all coming circle. It's a lot of the kids that we're bringing into the regiment are those artists, are those creators, are those filmmakers, are those hackers or dissemination guys or systems engineers, gals that do this stuff. So, or cyber specialists, cyber warfare guys. So a lot of it already, it's coming full circle that the Ghost Army, which is why we have a resurgence of the lore, the Ghost Army is coming back and to its original intent, where deception this deception, is it there? Is it not? Is it real? You don't know, because there'll be a cyber behind you, telling you, yeah, that's fake. And let me knock this down. Let me show you. And then people are like, holy crap. I just saw the making of the Dunkirk, that movie Dunkirk.
Yep.
I saw the making of it. A lot of us were duped. Some of the scenes where the guys are lined up on the beach, cardboard cutouts. Some of the scenes were yeah. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So I was like going through YouTube and looking at all the scenes, and then it's posted on YouTube now. But I was watching, the making of Dunkirk and how they use Ghost Army like techniques, because no one wanted legit fucking. I mean, that's the thing too. The craft of filmmaking. That's why I don't like AI. That's why I don't like CGI. I mean, I'm okay with CGI supplementing real practical effects. Like, that's why George Lucas knocked out of the park with Star Wars, because it was used practical effects that looked like it could possibly be, it could be believable. It could be, whatever. Obviously with the techniques of CGI and computer graphics, he went nuts over fucking, on episode 1, went hog wild with the use of CGI, which I think was probably his proof of concept to let everybody know that, yes, you can have it done. Or Jurassic Park with Steven Spielberg with those techniques as well. A lot of stuff that you see out there that are being used in filmmaking, a lot of it we use as well. And that, when we hit the Hollywood portion of it, the Hollywood and gaming portion of it, everyone's gonna be like, holy crap. That was one of the saying. I would say the Ghost Army this way, top tier, where I'm at. I'm kind of like flinging around in the middle. I always tell people that, you ever see that movie Jumanji, and you see that all these animals are fucking running down the street, and you see that fat rhino? Okay, that's me, right? I'm like, keeping up with everybody. I can still do the gig, but I'm keeping up. I'm right behind you. You know what I mean? But the kids out right now, phenomenal troops we have in the PSYOP regiment. And I cannot, like I said, some of them I've been their first sergeant, or I've been their detachment sergeant. And I'm just in awe at some of the stuff that they can do. Some of the things that we used to talk about in team rooms back in the day, these kids are fucking just knocking it out, like I said. So, but yeah, I'm just an IO guy. I'm just a PSYOP guy. I brag, joke around about the Grand Admiral propaganda. That was given to me because there was a kid on a deployment who gave me that name, and the same thing with the IO guy. My boss gave me that name, and so those are the names that stuck. But yeah, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal stuff. Some of the techniques that we have now, you wouldn't even think that it was the OSS, some of the stuff of the OSS, the Office of War Information, OSS stuff, PSYOP. People don't like to admit it. PSYOP was that it was in D-Day. PSYOP was in World War I. PSYOP was in World War II. At every phase for 100 years, when it was considered a function in the Army for 100 years. They celebrated the 100th anniversary was in 2018. So yeah, wow. so it was that's when we were in doctrine. So, but yeah, I can't wait. Especially when the future, man, sky's the limit. Okay.
Well, Ken, I appreciate you coming on, especially with our 30 plus minutes of technical difficulties leading into the episode.
I think we would have been able to go into more detail if we didn't have that, but maybe that's the second portion of it. So
hopefully.
Yeah.
Next time.
Exactly.
No problems.
Exactly.
But that's been the theme of the Trunk Tales since day one. If we didn't have some sort of issue to begin with. But yeah, no, I think we've got it pretty much figured out. For those of you watching either the short or long version of the episode, there is an alternate form of this episode currently right now. I definitely think that you should go back and watch the long version of the episode. If you are sharing this with somebody who just wants the meat and potatoes and doesn't want the talking about AI and the fun stuff in the beginning of it, share the short version of the episode. They're both available on every platform. And Ken hasn't heard this yet, but you guys are hearing this, the intros and outros for this for the first time. Ken will hear about it before the episode comes out, but you guys are hearing it for the first time. Give us some feedback. Let me know if you like those intros and outros. I personally think I did a good job. I mean, I was never in the PSYOP community, so maybe you're going to tell me I'm dumb and stupid, but
never, man, never. I would never do that.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to continuing this series. And yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on.
All right, man.
All right. Bye, everyone.